Anthony, I think you are preparing the anthems for us so that we begin very quickly. Our speakers have already taken their seats. Our Chancellor is in the house. The Chair Council is in the house. We welcome the members of the Board of Trustees in the house. Staff, Bishop Tutt University. I can see many of them in the house. Graduates of Certificate of Administrative Officers Law course are in the house. The land friends, land friends at that level. You are all most welcome. We also have students. We also have parents. This is a public lecture. So we have many from all sorts of works. We are going to begin with the anthems, and then we shall have a prayer. Is the chaplain yet in the house? Yes. Then the chaplain will lead us in a word of prayer, and then we shall begin. Anthony, are you ready? When you are ready, please tell me so that we stand up for anthems. Otherwise, you are most welcome. Some of you have been hearing about Cambridge University of East Africa. So you can see what is going on here. This is we are in the process of Cambridgeization, and you can see things being Cambridgeized. The last time when you were here, actually the last time we had a public lecture, it was in the main hall. It was here, in the second floor. Now, we were in the second floor. Now we are in the third floor, and the arrangement is wow. Anthony, I'm waiting for you. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's all stand and sing the anthems, and then the chaplain will take us through a prayer.
Thank so much for today. We thank you that you have gathered us here for a purpose. And we thank you that you have brought here from different corners to teach us and to enlighten us. And as we listen and as we study, may your name be glorified. We pray that may your Holy Spirit guide everything that is going to happen here, every word and every action. Let what we say and what we do glorify you, the Lord Jesus Christ, our Lord.
Amen. Thank you very much. Let's take our seats. Ladies and gentlemen, as our culture, we usually hold public lectures before the graduation day. For this 21st graduation is due tomorrow, the 24th of October in the year of our Lord 2025. And so this afternoon, we are going to have a public lecture whose theme is transforming higher education through science, technology, and artificial intelligence-driven innovation for community impact. And so we are glad to have you here, the members of the community, but majorly the staff, the students, and also members from the public. You are all most welcome. Let's clap for God and for ourselves for having been able to come and attend this public lecture. In our midst, ladies and gentlemen, we want to recognize our Chancellor who has come to take part in this public lecture. Let's welcome him with a big hand clap. In our midst, we have the chairperson of the council, Bishop Tutt University, Professor Kenneth Kagame. Let's welcome him with a big hand clap. In our midst, we have members of the Board of Trustees. Here we have the very Reverend Venerable Canon Bobs Mwesije, the Dean, St. James Cathedral. You are most welcome, Sir Canon. We have another member of the Board of Trustees, Mr. Herbert Kamucha, who is also the head of Rete for the Diocese of Ankole. You are most welcome, sir. In our midst, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Diocesan Secretary of the Diocese of Ankole, Reverend Canon Edison Abasa. You are most welcome. Next to him, ladies and gentlemen, is our Professor, Associate Professor Gashom Atkunda. He is a commissary to the Vice Chancellor. Next to him is Reverend Canon Asaf Kabachenga, our Dean of Students. Just behind here, we have some deans of faculties. I see a few of them here. We have Dr. Eno Kabarije, who is the Dean of the Faculty of Education, Arts and Media Studies. You are most welcome. Our chaplain has gone very far. Please, you need to sit near here. Yes, please. Don't go far. Our chaplain, Madame Justina Bashemire, you are most welcome. I will keep introducing more others as time. Oh, we have our university secretary. You have, okay, Mr. Medad Abasa, he is our university secretary. Those of you that have been our students, because you are going to graduate, you never left him here. By your time, there was another university secretary. So this one is our university secretary. You are most welcome, Medad Abasa. On the one following him is Reverend Charles Okidi, a lecturer in the Faculty of Education, and also Reverend Agashom is an acting head of department of science in the Faculty of Education, Arts and Media Studies. You are most welcome. Previously, we had the chairman, LC5 Chiruhura. Where has he gone? Was he here? Did I see him here? I saw someone looking like him, maybe. So all of you, we have, ladies and gentlemen, students here who are going to graduate with the certificate of Administrative Officers Law course here at Bishop Tutt University. Would you please stand up for recognition if you are here? You are among those that are going to graduate. Oh, wow, 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 wow. Wow, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I can see many staff members here. Thank you very much for coming. And now, just here behind me are important men. First of all, I begin with the Dr. Milton Rangere, who is in charge of all this that is going on here. You are welcome. He's the director of Court Assurance, Bishop Church University. The extreme end is none other than our Vice Chancellor, Professor John F. Mugisha. You are most welcome, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote address speaker, who is also with us here, we are going to welcome him, and this is Dr. Vincent A. Sembatia. You are most welcome, sir. And our discussant is Professor John Wycliffe Muwanga Zake. Professor, you are most welcome. So these gentlemen are loaded with knowledge, and we are all eagerly waiting to listen to what they have brought to us. And let's have our writing pads. Let's be ready with our pens. Let's be ready with the all that we have to listen to what these men of God have brought to us. While I was introducing people, the faculty dean of business, economics, and governance also came in. Please welcome Associate Professor Noel Kansi Mechiza. You are most welcome. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin with opening remarks, and the one to take us in this is none other than our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor John Mugisha. Professor, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Our dear Chancellor and Bishop of Ankoya Diocese, the Right Reverend Associate Professor Fred Sheldon Mwesugwa, our beloved members of the Board of Trustees, the Chairperson of Council, Professor Kenneth Kagame, our beloved guests tonight, my colleagues, members of staff, our guests, students who are here, ladies and gentlemen. I have a pleasure this afternoon to welcome you to our public lecture, which is my second as a Vice Chancellor of Bishop Stuart University. Today, we had a function in the morning, and we were many people here. It was also the first we organized it. We organized it that way. We did the commissioning service today morning, and we were very many people here. And we thought that this afternoon we would put the public lecture so that we decongest tomorrow and run a relatively short graduation ceremony. I'm not sure whether the morning session affected the afternoon session, because the morning session were very many, and the afternoon session I see that we are few. We may have to see which one affects the other and whether to run both of them in the afternoon. I would like to welcome you to this session and to mention that the theme is around the role of science, technology, and particularly artificial intelligence in higher education, and it is linked to community impact. Everything we do now is around science, technology, and innovations. As universities, we have to rise to the demanding speed, to a supersonic speed of the developments in science, technology, and innovations. Because if we don't do so, we will not keep pace with the developments that are happening elsewhere in the world. Superpowers of this world have invested billions of US dollars in the development of technology, and particularly artificial intelligence. There are all signs that in the developing countries, there will not be much money to invest. It therefore means that institutions, particularly universities, have to undertake that investment themselves. Failure to do so means that our graduates will not compete. It means that we will not compete because we will remain behind in terms of teaching and learning, in terms of research, in terms of administration, in terms of assessment, in terms of global competitiveness and innovation. As Bishop Stuart University, we have decided not to remain behind. Mr. Chancellor, sir, I am glad to inform you that we are already using artificial intelligence in research. A number of the innovations that we have, particularly in the area of agribusiness, are utilizing AI. Those who are teaching animal health production, they are using AI to even determine the feeds, the nutritious feeds to give to the animals. There's a doctor from the Faculty of Agriculture, and they were demonstrating to me how they use AI. Actually, I also used it on my phone because they said you use yours. Download this app, use your phone. And it is able to identify different plants, give you the scientific name of the plant, tell you the nutritional value for the animals, tell you the level of toxicity, and advise you on what you can do to neutralize the toxicity and the combinations you can make to improve nutritional value of the plants as animal feeds. This is what is happening here. And my Lord Bishop, we have a number of innovations. I'll be speaking about this tomorrow in my speech. Some of which are being funded externally, and we are utilizing artificial intelligence. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovations is funding 2 projects here. One to a tune of 250 million in only 1 year, which is phase 1, which is the pilot phase, and another one with 400 million. And after that phase, we hope there will be phase 2, where we will prepare for full commercialization. But these products are already at prototype stage. So there are several efforts that are going on here. But we want to utilize AI also in teaching and learning. Because initially when this started, we would tell our students, don't touch your phone, refrain from the use of AI. We cannot be able to do that and survive. Now we are telling them that you use AI to know the course outline, the syllabus first of all. Use it to revise. Ask AI to set questions for you in religion and modernity, in basic statistics, in epidemiology, in disease control. Ask it to set questions, you answer the questions, and ask it to mark you. And prepare yourself for the exam. So that when you come to the exam, you put aside the phone and then you are ready to do the exam. It's what we tell our students now to do. And it is improving learning. They don't need it in the exam, but they can use AI to revise. We are also telling the teachers that if they don't use it, students are likely to know more than the teachers. At Cavendish University, Uganda, AI had not come. We are using simple, we are using the power of the internet to run an online platform and connect students to different information sources and resources. And so we had two groups of students, the contact students and the distance learning students. Actually, Professor Zaki is the one who had designed that system that we are using initially. And he was in charge of it. So when we run a comparison, because they were sitting the same exams, some were not appearing in class at all. Others were teaching them every day for 15 weeks. Then they would sit the same exams. When we run a comparison, distance learning students performed a lot higher, a lot better than the students who were teaching. You recall. And so I told my colleagues, my staff, I said, people, if technology is going to teach better than us, then and it is cheaper, we may have to use technology to teach and then begin pruning the manpower and the woman power. So colleagues, the world is at a race. This is not the arms race, it is technology race. We have to embrace technology. Before I end, we are moving in the area of competence-based education. And Mr. Chancellor, we have decided that Bishop Stuart University will be among the first cohort of universities to fully implement competence-based curriculum and competence-based education. It's a big commitment because I'm saying it when the director of quality assurance and accreditation of the National Council for Higher Education is right here in the room. He has also promised to assist me in that regard. Fortunately, I also chair the Quality Assurance and Accreditation Committee of Council, so we work together. He has promised that he will support us, indeed, to embrace this very fast and very well. So I will be identifying like two people. I think I have already identified Cosmas. I don't think he's here today. And Job. And I would want them to visit him in the office so that they see how quickly we can turn around our curriculum. Even as we continue to meet industry practitioners to identify the key competencies required in industry, we are arranging those, and we have done a couple of staff meetings here and training workshops. We want to come through with this ahead of every other university in the country. I'm happy to receive you, and I'm very glad that you came. Dr. Vincent Sembatia is a scholar of pure mathematics to begin with. His PhD is in pure mathematics. But he went into quality assurance for a long time as the director of quality assurance of Makerere University. And he moved seamlessly from Makerere University to the NCHE, because I think I was even in the interview. I was on the panel. When we saw his name, we said other people are fighting a losing battle. The writing was on the wall, because an elephant cannot pull ropes with a goat. The elephant will just pull the goat. So we are happy that he is here and is going to be our keynote speaker this evening. Professor John Wycliffe Mwangazake is a professor of education technology. I think when he became a professor of education technology in this country, we had only him. I don't know how many you are now. But in this country, we had only one professor of education technology. I think it's an area that many people have not been venturing into. And I think he ventured into it because of where he was working. He worked in South Africa, he went to Australia, then he went to the UK before he returned to the country. So we are very lucky to have them to speak to us this evening. And I recognize the arrival of the Vice Chairperson of University Council, Madam Karen Ayabazibwe. You are most welcome. So thank you all for coming. I wish you fruitful discussions. Have a very good evening. Thank you.
Let's give him a very, ladies and gentlemen. Now, our Vice Chancellor has given us opening remarks, but that was not official, although he's the Vice Chancellor. So the official opening would be given by our Chancellor, and I will again invite the Vice Chancellor to invite the Chancellor to give us official opening remarks. Thank you very much.
It is now my singular honor to invite my Lord Bishop, the Chancellor of Bishop Stuart University, to officially open this public lecture. My Lord Bishop.
Our keynote speaker, discussant, the Chairman of Council, the Vice Chancellor, Head of Quality Assurance, honored guests, including trustees, and the public constituted by lecturers, students, parents, guardians, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am so delighted to be part of the audience that will listen in, especially as the experts or those who take trouble to teach themselves. Recently, there was a student of law. He's a practicing lawyer already. He launched a book in Hotel Africana on the mysteries of time. And this lawyer was speaking science. He was speaking the world of stars and mathematics. But we are talking of a lawyer. Don't forget. So I got interested and discovered that there is what they call, there are people these days who teach themselves. You don't wait for a teacher, especially in the world where knowledge is becoming so available and vast. There is a term that I read about which talked about such kind of people. So, but we are here to learn. Don't say, for me, I'm a person of literature. What do I have to do with the technology? That is long gone. A time I experienced that when I went to study, to do my master's degree, because in Uganda, they were teaching us to specialize. To specialize literature, 311, something. So when we would do with mathematics, the world of his, you would say, that's not my field. Then when I go to do my postgraduate studies, then I'm told, if you are doing research, you have to make do with graphs, with pie charts. I said, but this one, I left it a long time ago. He said, no, So welcome to the world of AI. Everybody is subjected, and we pray that we shall learn how using AI in science and technology, we shall be able to see how it can impact our world of education. And I want to appreciate the opening remarks of the Vice Chancellor to say we want to take the lead in this direction. May you listen, may you learn, may you be prompted to go and learn more from here, especially you who are still young. For those who are retiring, maybe you can afford to sleep. But for those who are still young, I pity you. Not I pity you, you are blessed. Tonight is the night. May the Lord God bless you. I hereby officially open this discussion. In the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
He needs another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, our Lord Bishop and Chancellor of Bishop Stuart University. We are happy to receive our Vice Chairperson of the Council once again, Madam Karen Kabeho. You're most welcome. In our midst, ladies and gentlemen, we have media, and we have a number of media houses. One of them is Revival Radio and TV. Please, where are you, Revival Radio and TV? We have to, oh, thank you very much, Ronald is there. Okay, we have TV West and Radio West. Where are you? Okay, thank you very much. Yes. We have NIDTech. NIDTech, where are you? Oh, thank you very much. We have AYIT. AYIT, where are you? Oh, thank you very much. Any other media house that I have not recognized? BSU. We have our Senior Public Relations Officer, Madame Rose Rankore. Please stand up for recognition. Okay, she's behind BSU Radio. So thank you very much, Rose Rankore. And we have our librarian, BSU librarian, Madame Annette Nyakubaho Chamugambi. Please stand up for recognition. Okay, thank you very much. Now, we are now going into serious business of this evening. The serious business, we have the keynote address speaker. I am not the person to invite him, but we have the chairperson of that session, whom I'm going to invite to take us into that direction. This is none other than Dr. Milton Rwanjire. You're welcome.
You can clap more. Our Chancellor, the Chairman of the Council, members of the Board of Trustees, members of Council, our Vice Chancellor, whom at times I prefer to call Professor FM. You are welcome. I think let's appreciate our Vice Chancellor sincerely. This Chancellor, this is the man controlling the rudder of turning Bishop Stuart University into a Cambridge of East Africa. And really, when you leave BSU for a week, when you come here, you are a stranger. We appreciate. Yeah, it is both an honor and privilege to invite you to this public lecture, which we have organized under the theme, Transforming Higher Education through Science, Technology, and AI-driven innovations for community impact. Ladies and gentlemen, to us at BSU, this theme resonates directly or speaks directly to our vision. And by the way, some of us may not be knowing our vision. Our vision is a university for recreating a society with academic excellence, entrepreneurship, and Christian values. Our theme still is aligned to our mission, producing magisterial leaders, stock operators who know the way, show the way, and go the way. And Chancellor, our vision and mission have been re-energized by launching our strategic plan. And when you come here, within 5 years, you will see the difference. You will see how science and technology is transforming Bishop Stuart University. Looking at our theme is aligned the Sustainable Development Goals, is aligned to African Union Program 2063, is in line with East African Community Program for Education 2025, is in line with the National Development Plan 4, is in line with the BSU Strategic Plan, is in line with the BSU core values and academic programs. We are here for this theme, to redirect our thinking, to redirect our knowledge, so that we change our mindset. The way we have been doing, we have been teaching, we have been doing research must change as we change towards competent-based education. To dissect this, rather than our keynote speaker, Dr. Vincent A. Sembatia. I'm yet to know what is A stands for. Who is Dr. Vincent Sembatia? Allow me to read verbatim about him. Dr. Vincent Arosia Sembatia is a linguist, academic, a higher education leader with over 3 decades of experience in quality assurance, institutional reform, and inclusive education policy across Uganda and Africa. He currently serves as the Director, Quality Assurance and Accreditation at Uganda's National Council for Higher Education, where he spearheads the development and implementation of standards and frameworks to ensure integrity and global relevance of Uganda's higher education system. If I were you, I would clap. Dr. Sembatia, prior to joining Nche, he was the Director of Quality Assurance at Makerere University, where he led transformative reforms, including the establishment of a robust quality assurance framework, curriculum harmonization, digital monitoring tools for graduate supervision, and pedagogical innovations that enhance teaching, research, and institutional performance. A mathematician by training, our VC had already mentioned it, Dr. Sembatia and his PhD from the University of Florida, USA, and holds the Master of Science and the Bachelor of Science degrees in none other than mathematics from Makerere University. His scholarly work spans topology, functional analysis, higher education policy. He has published in peer-reviewed journals on topics ranging from mathematical theory to academic productivity in developing countries. His work exemplifies transformation-oriented approach to education system, fostering partnership, building inclusive policy frameworks, and advancing Africa's knowledge economy through technology and quality assurance. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my honor to invite our keynote speaker, Dr. Vincent Sembatia, to address us. Mark S.J.
thank you very much, the chair of this session. Our Lord, the Bishop and Chancellor of Bishop Stuart University, the Chair of Council, the Vice Chair of Council, our host, the Vice Chancellor of Bishop Stuart University, our friend and also our partner at the National Council for Higher Education, where he chairs the committee that actually supervises my office. Yes, I hope that we can see what is on the screens. Otherwise, I will try not to stretch your heads to look at the screens. I try to refer to most of that in words. I was given very my choices into this presentation. The basis of competence-based was there. There was some bit of IT, and then my favorite topic of artificial intelligence was also there. I've been introduced as someone who did mathematics, a lot of mathematics, from high school all through to university. But then you also had that thing, 311, mathematics 311, so that second year, third year, just mathematics. But then you would wonder, where would you go with this mathematics? How much is it to do with the real world? And actually, the mysteries are now being unveiled when we work with computers. I just wanted to motivate ourselves through the role of higher education in development, because higher education is here and Bishop Stuart is seated at the center of it with a very good ambition of being the Cambridge of Uganda, of Africa, of East Africa. Yeah, it's very intimidating statement, but positively so, because you now need to know what Cambridge actually is. I was discussing with the Vice Chancellor at lunch about Cambridge, and I pulled out just a few parameters where Cambridge sits. He said, okay, Cambridge doesn't have so many students, actually. It has about 10,000 students. It's about the same size with Oxford, the same size with MIT, the same size with Harvard. For some weird reason, they've all chosen to have very few students. And they have many staff. So you have about 1,000 academic staff. But then beyond that, they have so many other staff doing lots of things at the university. So the university is almost supporting the city around it. The city is coined around the university. The same with Oxford, scattered in the area. Everything comes from Oxford. The spirits of the city are from Oxford. The same with MIT and Harvard. But if I take Harvard, Harvard's endowment is bigger than many economies in Africa. So the university has access to a lot of money. And actually, that's one of the statements that we must go for. Like, we have to have a lot of capacity as we get back to the... So I have very strong feelings that it's possible for, of course, Bishop Stuart to be the Cambridge of East Africa. Why not? Because I've not had any other university in East Africa trying to be that. Yeah. I know that Makerere was called the Harvard of Africa for quite a bit, but then, of course, at some point you even forget what you were chasing. Yeah, you don't know what were we looking for. You don't even remember what was in your mind when you came. But I hope that this can be achieved. Now, the higher education, we all know where it's seated. It has a major role of training all these people in engineering, in healthcare, science, research, business and finance, legal professions, and where we're seated at the accreditation, we look at the curriculum of Bishop Stuart, and we see that it's actually in those areas. Probably the science and technology is going to be a key driver. In higher education, for higher education to make any impact, it has to produce knowledge. So that means you have to have a lot of research. And the research that generates knowledge and knowledge that goes into products. And probably policy, could be products. You can see, if you doubt it, we are talking again at lunch, and say, even the discovery of fire, and fire was always there, really. It was burning things with humankind. Fire has always been there. But I think one of the biggest discoveries was how to control fire and bring it to use. And in those of us who have been living in these communities, you know, fire was always a very important resource in every household. Before the matchbox that you could light and create fire instantly, you used to hide it under the ashes and keep it there, rejuvenate it in the morning, hide it in under the ashes. And should fire go missing, what would you do with the food? Actually, there was even a tradition of asking for fire from neighbors. I don't know whether many people here are familiar with that process. Yeah, you had somewhere, they give you a few pieces of charcoal, live charcoal, and you go with them and you start your own fire. But then at some point, people discovered how to make fire from wood through friction. So you see, physics had started coming to use. And what happened to, in those who study history and anthropology, know that human beings started from this planet. They started from this continent. And there's no contention about that, at least not yet. All the excavations, all the research point to the same thing. You know, by Gorge, and sometimes they slide it down to South Africa. But in any case, they believe strongly that the intelligible life in our area started from Africa. So human beings used to live in trees, but then with the discovery of fire, they now went to the caves. It was now safe to live in caves with the discovery of fire. And then they started making tools out of it and all that. All that is some innovation started improving our lives. But life, even though they tell us we've been here for over millions of years, the population was not growing. It had no capacity to grow because diseases were wiping us off. Wild animals were eating people and all that. So the true breakthrough came when we were able to use science to improve lives and prolong our living. The agricultural revolution is about 60,000 years ago. In historical times, 60,000 years ago is a very short time. It's like yesterday. That's when we managed to tame wild crops like rice and wheat, and now bring it, like, be able to cultivate in organized ways, and then you have this agriculture here. But we've stayed with the same foodstuffs for over years. So we've not been able to find new crops. Now the innovations, the Vice Chancellor will tell you, they are combining things. They are making crops grow faster. Where I was at Makerere, they had fodder, crops for cattle that can grow in weeks. And in weeks instead of months. I know in South Africa they have apples that grow very fast. Even animals themselves can be, like a chicken, I think. The chicken you buy in grocery stores, or not the one you slaughter at home. Because the one you slaughter at home, I think, grows for years. So sometimes they even become members of the family. You even give them names. Yeah, you have their names. But the chicken in Western Europe is 42 days. The chicken, not the broilers, but the chicken, the broilers, 42 days are supposed to be slaughtered. So you may not, if you use your eyes, you may think they are still young, but that's it. Those are the ones you find in KFC and the Cafe Javas. Those are very young chicken. Even cattle. The cattle you find, the Chinese slaughter cattle, when it's very young. Yeah. However, I was waiting for the screen to come back. If he doesn't come back, we should still be able to proceed. I think I unplugged this. I had already talked about knowledge production. Knowledge is transformative. It has capacity to resolve our issues. We are talking about people who are living beyond 100 years. Even within our communities, we see them. Earlier on, there was no capacity to live even up to 50 years. So knowledge and science and knowledge has successfully been able to transform our abilities to maneuver around our planet and even be able to live longer. We've created more products. Even though the products we've created, some of them are very dangerous, like nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons could not be possible before 1900. There was a very important scientist called Albert Einstein who managed to unravel the power behind physics. Even though earlier on there was Isaac Newton. Isaac Newton had explained to us a lot of things around movement. By just asking a simple question, why do apples fall? Because the story goes that he was seated under a tree doing his private work, and then the apple hit his head. And he was very disturbed. Why do they fall? And that question of why apples fall led to the discovery of gravity. And now discovering gravity unraveled a lot of the forces, the laws of motion, why things move, how can they move consistently in organized ways. And then till, for a long time, that is 17th century of Newton. Later on, it had to take so many years, about 300 of them, for Einstein to come and debate and say no. Not that everything Newton said was correct. They had limitations. He could not explain a lot of things. So this very intelligent person came and discovered nuclear physics. Physics that works below the atom. We all know that, somehow know, even if you are not in science, you know about atoms. The basic building blocks of matter. Yeah, you can break and break and break and crash and crash and crash till you reach the atom. So everyone believed that you can't go below the atom for a very long time. And did they not discover that actually a lot of another world lives below the atom? So the atom splitters, they managed to convince us that the atom has subcomponents. So many of them, the quarks, the quantas. So the quantum world is now what actually governs us. So beyond the nuclear weapons, beyond the classical physics, we are able to go through that. So I will try to just bring forth. My computer became unstable as well. I don't know what happened. It's flashing because I think we attempted to ask us to run this presentation. So I just wanted to say that the economic case for higher education has been made. If you don't have to look very far. India and China, we are struggling the same way we are. Not very many years ago, about 1990, around 2000. India and China, we are struggling. Uganda, as we speak, we don't have a great many people going to higher education. There is a measure of how people participate in higher education. That measure takes the group of people who are between 19 years and 24. It's a 5-year age group. And then asks how many of these people are going to school. And we have so many of them in that age group. Does anyone know how many in the age group? I can only provide a guess. It's about 4.5 million people in that age group between 19 and 24. More than 4.5 million people are in that age group. But among those, how many are coming to universities or tertiary education. 250,000 actively. So it's a very small proportion. We measure it in percentages. We never put out that percentage of about 6%. It's called the gross enrollment ratio. Very few people got higher education. And if you went to ask them, or ask where they are as an alternative, don't look very far. You find them riding borders. A lot of them, they are doing very useful work, obviously. They are mansions on buildings. They are mechanics. They are hairdressers. They are in saloons. They cook your food in restaurants. But with the way they are doing their things, they are not very well regulated. They do the things the best way they know how. And they are considered to be part of the economy. So they are doing a great component. They are supporting our economy very well. However, we are all told that the world, or Africa or Uganda, cannot progress with that very low enrollment. So if you compare that enrollment to that of South Korea, is at 95% of those people in that age group go to higher education. And in most of Western Europe, it's more than 80%. Maybe some of them are at 70%. So some of the issues that we have in the country could be resolved if more people accessed higher education for the role that it's supposed to play. Our IT didn't manage to get this back. You're missing very nice pictures. I don't know what we can do. But I try to progress with okay, so we have a very big education gap. South Korea, I sometimes challenge people, even within the audience, that chances are that the phone you are holding is either from China or from South Korea. How many people have Samsung? By show of hands, if you can, please. Samsung. What about iPhone? Some people have iPhones. Okay, but then any phone from China? Okay, you don't be shy. There could be a Techno, it could be, yeah. The Chinese are doing a great job. Actually, the iPhone is designed from the US, but it's manufactured in China. We all know that. Now, what is China's biggest problem at the moment? China cannot make, they make semiconductors. Semiconductors are things that are in your gadgets. They are the brains of your phones. They are the brains of these computers. Now, a semiconductor can be very big. Like you can even see it, can be visible. They are normally, say, on green boards, they call Arduino boards and all that. They print circuits on those things. You can look, you can see it. It could be visible. But it can also be invisible. The ones in your phones, you can't see them. My Lord Bishop, we can't see the semiconductors. They are beyond our vision. You know, your eyes can only see things that God allowed you to see. You can see a snake because it can be dangerous to you. You can see fire, you can see things, and that's why you teach people colors, so that they can identify their food, they can identify their way home. But there are things which affect our lives that we cannot see with our eyes. Like there's what you call infrared. Things that are below red. Infra means below. And ultra means above. So infrared is below red, and ultraviolet is above violet. Everyone teaches us about, they teach us about the rainbow, the colors of the rainbow, from red, orange, yellow, green, all the way up to violet. That is the visible spectrum. what your eyes can see is in that between red and violet. However, animals like the snake can see more than what you can see. Sometimes animals can hear more than what comes to your ears. But I just was telling you because the semiconductors that the Chinese are putting in our gadgets are very small and you can't see them. They are printed with a printer. The printers at that level are called lithographs. The whole printing science is lithography. So lithography prints what you would wire on a component in this computer, you can connect using wires. But at that level of nano, the nano level is below what our eyes can see. What Einstein brought to bear cannot be wired using copper wires or anything. They just print the wires. So the Chinese right now are very much puzzled because the printing required, they don't have capacity to do it. They have to print at a level, I think Prof you would know, at 4 nanometers. Do you know how big a nanometer is? You cannot. It also puzzles my head. Is 1/1000th of a meter. So you cannot, a meter is not very big, but divide it into 1 billion to get a nanometer. And people are doing science at that level. So what are we going to do to be able to do that? You will find some of this science is done at Cambridge University, or in some universities in Netherlands, like Eindhoven, or they do that. And actually the technology the Chinese are looking for is generated from science done from Netherlands. And the Chinese don't have capacity to do that science themselves. So they are really puzzled because thanks to that, now our Uncle Trump can put sanctions, say, we are not going to export you, we are not going to allow you to buy that technology. So what are they going to do if they can't get access to that technology? Now that one tells you that even though China and India have been able to take people to school, because now China has reached 60%. You remember the percentage I talked here about, where we are at about 6, China is at 60%. People have gone to school in China, and it's such a large population. But we also know that in Africa, in about the end of the vision year of 2040, Uganda vision, in 15 years from now, Africa will hold 25% of the world population. 1 out of 4 human beings will be African. Does it scare us? No, it shouldn't scare us. But how are we ready to participate in a similar proportion as the population we have? It should be that all the research in the world, 1 out of every 4 papers comes from Africa. It should be that Africa, the food, should be the food basket of the world. It should be that Africa does most of the science. Because what we don't have in our favor so much, the problems of Africa have been articulated. Our people have been talking about the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. They've been talking about the Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and been talking about the East African Development Agenda of 2050, the Uganda Vision, and then our strategic plan of Bishop Stuart. So one of the challenges we should have is create our own technology. Yeah, I think I should leave this place with some ideas of to do our own technology so that this presentation comes through our own screens. And it's possible. It's possible to do that because otherwise I wouldn't be struggling. I think the biggest problem is this is an Apple computer, and this cable is not Apple related, and the fights are there. So the fights are still going on. They try to block the technology is not harmoniously integrated, but we can't blame anyone for that. So some of the very nice pictures we can't see. I'm very sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, probably you could transfer the material. Yeah, it has actually never. Yeah. To your mind. Oh, what's up? Yes. Yes. The computer is a high version. So which technology is I7? These are M. This is an Apple. Yeah, I'm seeing the Apple. Yeah, one of them is. No, the other one is not Apple, but this is Apple. Yeah, so machine learning. So you think the machine has
Meanwhile, someone misplaced his or her keys. If you have misplaced your keys, this is the commercial break. So if they are here, you can come and pick them. Secondly, be asking your neighbor about what has gone on already so far. What have you grasped so far? Eh? Are you asking your neighbor what she or he has grasped? Don't simply follow. Make sure you take something with you. We are going to give you some small quiz. And we want to see how steady you have been. Can I begin? Let me see those that are steady and ready. Who can tell us the name of the presenter? The name of the presenter. I'm going to begin from here. Please, all of you look at me. Just, I want the name of the presenter. Who can tell us?
He's called Dr. Vincent A. Sembatia.
You clap for him, please. Ladies and gentlemen, they are talking about AI. Do you know some types of AI? Can someone tell us? Who has an answer? some types of AI. Some people, AI may call it artificial insemination. Who can tell us what AI is? There is an answer there of someone who knows about some types of AI. Please.
Thank you very much. I know a few. ChatGPT, Julius, Anara, Grok, Semantic, False.
Continue. Who can remind us of one of the types she has talked about?
There is Magic School. There is Magic School. There is Copilot. I can stop there. In addition.
DeepSeek. DeepSeek.
She said DeepSeek. I thought she had said lipstick. You know, AI has a number of types. Is there any other person that can remind us of some? Eh? Please. Yes, please.
I'll say two more, Scholar C, and then the rabbit.
Wait a minute. Are you? USC, which one? Yes, people have gone very far. I can see many of the students here. Students of PhD, students, master's students, undergraduate students, graduates. How can one use AI to get some notes? How do you learn? How do you use AI to learn? How do you use it? Which right way can you use so that AI can help you to get some information? Arthur, please tell us. Arthur and Marvin, these are, by the way, we are the people you hear or you see on social media. We write about those who have gone and taken us into debate and have won medals. They are here. Can you please stand up for recognition? And you stand up, Marvin, Arthur. Where is your other colleague? You clap for these young men. They have really done us a great job. Eh? They have made our university skyrocket. They are debaters. They speak English.
As a literature student, the only way I can use AI, first of all, I use a ground of poetry. I want to teach a class in senior 1 about a poem with 14 lines, which is a sonnet. I use AI to create that poem. But when AI creates the poem, I look at the beta version. If AI is describing his coat as green dark, that is what AI is using. So me as a literary scholar who's writing, I look at how I can be better than AI, but not actually using the AI poem I've received from the search engine.
Have you gotten him? Yeah. Can someone Okay, Marvin, tell us about that.
Okay, the law classes are quite different. Much as very many students now try to use AI to maybe do coursework, maybe to do any other thing. At law school, it's quite different. Well, what AI would help us to do is, yes, the laws are already there and they're in place, but then what happens is that there are certain terms that you might not understand in the world class of law. So the basic part of it is that you would put a word like quantum merit in AI so that you understand what the word quantum merit basically means. So it becomes quite different.
Thank you very much. Let's continue. Clap for these people who have participated in the question and answer session. Clap for them, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, thank you very much, and of course, thank you for your patience. Now I go straight to AI, since you have been in AI, so that if it disrupts again, we shall not miss the AI components as well. So the impact of AI is supposed to improve quality, relevance, and competitiveness in our higher education arena. Now, we already have talked about the role of higher education, so I'm not going to go back to that. Involvement, we have the challenges that are pushing us to the arms of AI. I had talked slightly about that in Uganda, we don't have enough universities the size of Bishop Stuart. We have 10 public universities in Uganda. You know, one of them is here, Mbarara University of Science and Technology. You've heard of Makerere and Gulu and Rira, Mbale. Mbale is not public, but it's Kabale, yes. So we have 10 of them, including Muni. But then we also have another group of universities that are chartered, like Bishop Stuart University is one of the chartered universities. So those are considered to be in the same group, in the same category. Then there are these upcoming ones, which are still, many of the times, some of them have been around for some time and have not reached recognizable places. In a sense, we check them and say we are not ready, but they are around for some time. And then there are some new ones. So we don't have enough universities that can take in 10,000 students. My vice chancellor here tells me that we've reached 8,000, and we hope we are very, very near the 10,000 mark. So if you had enough universities in Uganda that can each take 10,000 students, now suppose all those 26 of them, we would have about 200 and close to 300,000 students in higher education. Now we don't have those. We need to have, at this stage, we need to have about 1 million students. And this, most importantly, we need to have spaces for them in universities. We have the spaces, and then we have the good curriculum, which they can study on and become useful people in their communities. So definitely you may have to ask, because now that's where competence-based is going, that you walk to a university, you leave that university with competences. What did you want to do in life? And are you out of that university with those things? Like tomorrow we are graduating students, so they would be happy, they go and make parties and all these things. But are they leaving this university with competences that will enable them maneuver around the... So the Vice Chancellor has told you that all the curriculum of this university is going to be converted to assure everyone that you are living with the competences. Some of the aspects we've already interrogated that are required. Even through the training, there will have to be interface with industry, through internships. Some of the programs like engineering and law, agriculture, you already may be being trained through internships. The lawyers go and practice, they even take back, they go back to legal practice exams and all that. The people doing medicine, they spend most of their time in hospitals. People doing agriculture, we have maybe greenhouses, even on campus. So it's going to be a requirement that every student has a profile, a portfolio. That's one thing that might be new. Everyone has a portfolio. Incidentally, primary schools, some primary schools have already been doing this. They describe the students so well, all the things they are capable of doing and all their weaknesses. So there's a very documented, well-documented portfolio. So the E that Professor Zake talks about in e-education, one of the things that we set up, especially in Moodle, is that the moment you register at the institution, they start building for you a tracking system that manages your learning and also it tracks your competences. So I will, why higher education in Africa needs transformation? I put some cases for that. The youth explosion, I talked about that there are so many young people and looking for opportunities. There is access crisis, that we don't have enough positions at universities and higher education institutions. So we need to find innovative ways of getting the education to the people. Transformation is urgent because the numbers already told us the story. We need people knocking at the doors. The demographic pressure, the skills mismatch, the world of the industry is telling us that the people leaving universities are not ready for industries. Is that true? I mean, it needs to be interrogated. It's kind of like during COVID, when the country closed, many people stayed home. And a lot of people were wondering, what can they do? And I know that some of the teachers decided to go and started bricklaying. Or you try out your skills that can secure you in the existing circumstances. So the other things that we are talking about here is outdated pedagogy. When the British brought their curriculum here, it wasn't meant for the challenges we have now. The funding crisis, everyone will decry that. The deficit of research, the disconnection with industry, this fragmentation, I think, is an issue for us and Dr. Milton to talk about. The employability gap that once people graduate from the university, they may fail to access employment. So who is supposed to fix that? There are certain, I know the youth are very innovative. They started creating their own opportunities the best way they know, like the gig. There's something called the gig economy. You know about that? Yeah, people talk about that word. I have a gig here. So here and there they call you. But then the gig economy also has things like Uber and food delivery, Jumia, and all these things. So people are innovating around that. They find some product people didn't know about, they put it on Gigi, and they market it. They don't even own a single product. But you find they have a website that creates an inventory of things you can buy from them, but they don't own a single item. But how do they manage? If you order something, they know who to call. And they call them so fast, you don't even realize there's a gap. But no, normally what I do, I tell them, take a picture of that product where you are and send me. So then I can tell whether actually they have access to the product. But they are doing a good job. Quite imperative. Now the competence-based you've talked about is a shift from knowledge to demonstrable skills and applied competences aligned with the workforce and society needs. Is one of the key required transformations. I put it here as a strategic transformation. Maybe you won't be able to read that, they're a bit tiny. This is for Bishop Stuart, and you have already given a thumbs up for that. We are going to be competence-based. I don't think you'll be challenged on that. Then digital transformation is the other strategy. So leveraging AI, learning management systems, data analytics, to enhance teaching, learning, and administrative efficiency. Yeah, you can, even in some places here in Uganda, people have already started bringing holographs. Holographs, you know holographs. They can create you and put you here in front of the class without you being there. You are not actually there, but your image is the one here in front, and they are making them more realistic. They are not physical objects, but they are colors created by the computers and cameras. Put them together, make it walk around this building, can even walk to the desk of a person who needs help and talk to them. It's in your image, but it's not you. You are not even there. And the good thing with these holographs, they can be created, multiplied, so you can teach the same class, you can teach different classes. It's going to omnipresence. Yeah, you can appear. You know, I was going to talk to you about the quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics has a principle of superposition. So superposition allows you to be in different states at the same time. So holographs are coming, but not just for the teachers. For people doing, say, medicine, they can create, they used to, in medicine, they buy cadavers, cadavers, medical cadavers. They are, the other, I won't explain too much about cadavers because they can scare some people from this room. But the medical students can operate without requiring the cadavers. Cadavers are essentially dead people. But now you don't need to spend so much money on that. They can create those objects in AI, and it's already there. I hope it's not here already at Bishop Stuart. Okay, so there's another in between before you get those ones. They have now put them on like Apple Vision. They put glasses on top of your face, and you can see the objects. The objects are not really there. But now if you put that gadget on top of your face, I'm sure some people here have worn that gadget already, you would see the objects. It's as if it's in front of you, and you start learning. So research and innovation, that one has already been talked about. Equity and inclusion, and government reforms. I want to talk just slightly about AI since it was the topic here. Artificial intelligence, this image here you see on the screen was generated using AI. I never drew that image, but I didn't even download it from anywhere. People talked about some of the AI tools you have. So you describe it so well, what you want, and artificial intelligence will generate that image for you. So I wanted that one because that's the image of the brain. And it shows us the brain connected to all those wires. So I think the science is now trying to understand how the brain thinks. So these are called neural networks. Neural networks, I think is up because of the nervous system. So neural networks, they create, these are mathematical objects that are designed to simulate the way the brain processes information. So education can be transformed using AI. I've talked about that with things like personalized learning. It's not necessary to take every student at the same pace. Everyone can learn at their own pace. So if you are ahead of the class, it doesn't have to slow you. If you are behind, you need to catch up. It doesn't have to stretch you. And then enhanced access, because as we mentioned, whereas we have so many people knocking on the doors of higher education, there aren't enough seats in classes, there aren't enough spaces in the environments. So now we can find you at home. So we can put the stuff on your phone, and I think that's what is happening. It's very surprising that people we thought are not capable of learning have shown that they can learn with the right environment. People are learning with TikTok. TikTok is teaching so many people out there. But the problem is that we are not giving them certificates for the things they've learned. Haven't you got surprised someone doesn't even know how to type anything? They just send voice mails. They communicate using the voice. But now TikTok is also teaching them how they can even do better. They can make the short videos. They can market their products. We have a group of people who we agreed to design a small AI software to help us around the markets. Because when you go to the market, they will get a heap of tomatoes and say this is 10,000. And then get another smaller heap, that is 5,000. Is that fair? Is there equity? They are using their eyes, they are guessing. That this looks bigger, it deserves to be 10,000. And this one is smaller. So now what we have done, there's something called training. Because these are algorithms. Algorithms are step-by-step methods of solving a problem. So most of the systems we are using are algorithms. So algorithms are designed but also have to be trained. Training means show them how to do something. And then if you show them a couple of times, then they start doing things by themselves. And sometimes they do them even better than you. And I think that's the annoying thing. And the first AI systems were in the IBM Deep Blue. Deep Blue had to do with chess, if you're a chess player. You see, chess, there was a world champion called Kasparov. Garry Kasparov was Russian. No human being could beat him. At least everyone reigns for some time. Because previously there was Anatol Karpov. No one could beat Karpov. Then Kasparov came. Now Kasparov can't beat Magnus, the Norwegian. So you reign for some time, your brain kind of is exhausted, another one comes. But now the computers the first computers were based on databases, the historical work of Kasparov. And Kasparov was very sure they can't beat him because everything they were using were his own games. But guess what? The computer learned a trick. And the first time it beat Kasparov couldn't believe it. It became breaking news. But now, even smaller computers can beat anyone. So the learning, so these algorithms, I think probably that's one of the take homes we do, because you can also train them. I think that's one thing. Are there people doing computer science in this room? Somehow? Okay, is there anyone who has trained an algorithm? Have you trained an algorithm? If I was to stay here for a few days, we would discuss that. Say, how do you train them? Now, probably that's one of the things you are going to do here. You are going to have a system, a number of people together, who will be handed some algorithms, and they start training them. Because once you train your algorithm, you create your own products. So these algorithms are for sale. They are not for free. There are some free ones, but there's one called PyTorch. Have you heard about PyTorch? Or TensorFlow? Like I used to, in my earlier work, I used to do a lot of analysis using SPSS, Excel, and analyze data. But then I became very busy, and analysis of data would take about 2 days sometimes. Just to produce one product, the computer gets exhausted, heats up, loses battery, does all sorts of funny things. Now, after some time, they created algorithms that can teach Excel how to analyze data. So data went into auto-analysis. Now you can analyze anything without even hiring people. here I had included, running out of time, we lost time sometime. Here I had included, but it seems like everyone knows what AI is. Simulation of human intelligence into machines, programmed to think and learn like humans. So I think yesterday I had on BBC, even the very people who worked in Google and they were fronting AI, even for the first time, are now worried because machines learn too fast and now they are threatening us. They are threatening us, so now there is, the talk is about regulation, that even as you train these machines to do what you do, chances are they are going to do, sometimes they are going to do it better than you. I think there are some areas where we are very safe. Theology, yes, theology, philosophy, psychology, those jobs are secure for some time. Actually, they are becoming even more relevant because as people drift away from human activities, we need to bring them back. And it's a role of our people to train, bring back, kind of humanize our people again as they learn to do our things. So I will not talk about this machine learning and natural language processing, but I know that people have talked about these. Many times when you talk of AI, you talk of ChatGPT. It's not really ChatGPT. ChatGPT is at the beginning of things. But it's good that you know that. Everyone knows that. Move to the next thing. I think one thing that you put in the curriculum is prompting. Writing prompts. Asking the relevant questions and the training of some of these algorithms. There are things to do with computer vision. I think this is an area where Bishop Stuart may want to invest. Computer vision. You see this camera in the room? It's just a camera, but now connected to something else. Whatever it sees, it can take it to an algorithm. An algorithm processes and say, oh, that person has been in that room twice today. What are they doing there? But then even the cameras you see on the streets need some algorithms. So I think a university like this, it would be of much use if you can work with the police department, and try to make sense out of that data they see on the streets. They are just cameras and they connect to a central unit in the police station, but the police people are looking at it like this. They don't know what to make out of these pictures. You write a very good algorithm to detect. Now they even can pick your facial expressions. So that person looked like maybe not very sure of where they were going. They walked that street so many times. So I think that's an area where you can. Then other advanced applications I've talked about, like robotics. I think it's good to invest in a robotics laboratory to automate a few things. You've already talked about agriculture. The camera that comes and hovers over a plant and detects that this plant needs more water or needs the herbicides if there are some infestations. I talked about neural networks. I probably, as I conclude, I should talk about what we are creating together as National Council, but also with institutions. The blockchain. Blockchain requires whatever you do here, even the student profiles that you are going to start building because you are going competence-based, that we get to see that at the center, or whoever is authorized to eliminate forgeries. So people forging your transcripts and all that will be eliminated. Personalized learning, I've talked about it. Campus operations, like improved accessibility because of the detectors in the cameras, the enhanced teaching and learning in the classroom, financial impact, because this is what the bottom line actually is, that first we began with not having enough resources. But then now the word is leveraging. Our professor here tells me that I use that word so many times. Leveraging is like, in Chinese, I think they have something called taibu or taekwondo or something like that. In taekwondo, you don't have to have too much energy. You just need to be intelligent. Because you are going to leverage, you are going to use the power of your opponent. The opponent, has a lot of power. Use it to defeat that opponent. How do you do that? Yeah, you're leveraging, yeah? They end up hitting something which hits them. You just walk away, you just dodge. No, that's what leveraging actually is. You don't have it, but you use it. Use the light from the neighborhood to read your books. Isn't that leveraging? Yeah? Public resources. So I think I'm going to leave it at this because I know that even when power went off, I meant to give you more pictures of this. Let me conclude by saying that we have been endowed to be present in a time like this. Some of us thought that maybe, say for instance, me as a pure mathematician, we are doing a lot of mathematics and keeping it on the shelves. Time came when actually all this mathematics was required to put together what we have right now. And so for us, it's just a great opportunity to be in this time when even you can catch up very fast. When you are probably born not so lucky, you didn't have so many resources, but now you can kind of transform your predicaments. You can transform your life just by utilization of the hard work of so many people around the world. So we really hope that all those visions that have been mentioned, including the country is talking about tenfold growth, which is very complicated to live with. How do you multiply your growth by 10 in a very short time? But it's possible because of the tools that we have in AI and artificial intelligence and innovations that are coming around the world. I really thank you very much for listening to me. I'm sure that even with disruptions, at least we'll be able to talk about something. Thank you very much.
Let's give another round of applause. And can we all stand up and clap for Dr. Vincent Sembatia for such a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. In the interest of time, thank you very much. I hope you have recorded the questions, observations, and where you require any clarification. He is here, he's our guest, and he will be with us up to tomorrow, even during the graduation ceremony. Thank you. Now, let me take another honor to introduce our discussant. It's important glasses to read properly. By the way, these glasses are also driven by AI. Yeah, our discussant prefers to refer to him as Professor Johnny. Johnny is usually a name for young men. Professor Johnny Wycliffe Frank Mwanga Zache. And he also prefers be referred to, this one when he mentioned it, I just laughed a bit in the office, but I was alone. He's a learning technologist. I look at the age, a learning technologist, educator, a scientist with experience in higher education, research, and NGO institutions. The man went to school. He has Bachelor of Science from Makerere University. He has postgraduate certificate in education from National University of Lesotho. He has a Master of Science in Entomology from Rhodes University. He has a Bachelor of Education again in Education, Rhodes University. He has another Master of Education, Science Education, Rhodes University. Postgraduate Diploma, ICT in Education, Rhodes University. And he has a Doctor of Philosophy in Digital Media in Education from University of Natal. This is her. And where he has worked in many areas where that are science-driven. His first employment was a scientific officer at Kawanda Research Station. From there, he moved to Coffee Marketing Board, Kampala, as technical officer, head of research. From there, he became a teacher in many institutions. And above all, he became a coach of lawn tennis and soccer. They are near him. He moved on and became a regional project manager and lecturer, Center for Advancement of Science, Mathematics Education, University of Natal, Durban, South Africa. He didn't stop there. He moved on as a lecturer, Education and ICT in Education, undergraduate and postgraduate, University of New England, Armidale, South Wales, Australia. The man didn't stop there. He moved and became a senior lecturer, learning technology, lecturing undergraduate and postgraduate students, University of Greenwich, London, United Kingdom. He didn't stop there. He continued to publish and publish and publish, and he became an associate professor of learning technology, lecturing, both undergraduate and postgraduate, University of Greenwich, later associate professor and head of ICT department, Uganda Matters University in Nkozi. Now you can see the connections are coming. When you talk about Nkozi, connections are coming. He continued, associate professor, dean faculty of science and technology, Cavendish University, Uganda. So there you can see the man we are having. Then now, at the moment, he's a professor. He's a deputy vice chancellor and dean, School of Computing and Engineering, Uganda Technology and Management University, Kampala. Ladies and gentlemen, like all great men, like most great men in the world, we get connected to region. They love their God. Our discussant is connected to church in this way. His father, Muwanga, while he was a chief in Namugongo, he constructed the first Anglican shrine. So when you are going to Namugongo, that shrine you see, the first one, was constructed by his father. And his brother was I think he the first? His brother, Ruyembazake, Joash, served as the Minister of Education in Obote I government. With those few and many comments and appraisals, let me now take the honor to invite our discussant, Professor John Wycliffe Frank Muwanga Zache, to discuss our topic. Professor, you are welcome.
It was quite interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much. All of protocol observed. Gentlemen, allow me not to go through your titles as he has done, but allow me also to thank my colleague, Professor Joe, for inviting me to be among the land fellows. It's not very common. And I think, Professor Mugisha, you have done a great thing. It's rare to gather land people to discuss topical issues like this one. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to be complimentary to what he has presented. I don't need to add much. I will try as much as possible not to be a devil's advocate, especially in front of the clergy. So I will try to take us back to this title. Is very, very, I don't know who designed it. It seems to be coming from Professor Mugisha here. But it questions us all, as Ugandans, as academia. And for me, I start with asking, when I look at such a title, whose education is it? Whose education are we delivering? We are talking about AI. And if you think a little deeper, you'll find that we lost our indigenous knowledge. We lost it. And I think he tried to, well, kind of hinted at it by saying maybe we should start our own technology. As much as we shouldn't reinvent the wheel. But clearly, I think we have been socialized out of our knowledge systems. And possibly that is where our problems start. When we look at things like AI, they are so foreign because they didn't evolve from us. They are introduced, and then we struggle to learn them. Yeah? So, as much as we shouldn't reinvent the wheel, at least we have the communities to think about. The community we have here is the land community. And maybe we should ask ourselves, how does AI serve the land community? He has touched on that. The professionals. Yeah. But I'm also worried about, I heard somebody talking about the LOC. It would have been interesting for that LOC to be here. Because what about the citizens? The majority for whom we are trying to design these systems, what are they saying? Now, I'll tell you, in my village, I normally go there with my tap, and I'm fond of soccer, so the Premier League, and I'm sure some of you are. And if you are subscribed to DSTV, you can watch anywhere. So I switch it on. The citizens are amazed. They think I move around with the TV. And I'm saying, no, this is some technology. Then I ventured into talking about AI, and I tried to define these in their terms. This was very difficult. But these are the people for whom we are trying to work at technology. We want them developed. How are we going to do that when they do not understand the concept itself? How do we take it there? Normally we end up with a top-down approach. We take it there. And we know when you take something to people, many times they reject it. I'll come to the definitions that were given to me, but then one guy asked me, I used to go with him to primary school. We attended primary school together. And he said, okay. So this AI is going to help us to vote. I said, well, maybe in the sense that it can profile your candidate. It can profile, it can give you a summary. And then somebody, how about planting potatoes? Maybe if you look at, if it has the database of the potato leaves and types, maybe again, it can come up with something. But the point here is, what is the understanding? My friend, I hope it's still my friend, I've taken a long time without meeting Professor Charles Kwesiga. Professor Charles Kwesiga, the director of Uganda Industrial Research Institute. I remember in one of his treatises, he was decrying the mixture of access to technology. I was saying, you know, we are talking about these industrial revolutions, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's a fifth one, where they are going to plant chips into your bodies. And he said, you know, Zaki, where do you start when you are dealing with such a mixture of populations? In my village, surely there are people who haven't even started to use any technology. They're using their hands, plant their maize, manual labor. Somewhere in Kampala, you have people who are at Industrial Revolution 4th, where they are using IoT and all of these things. And unfortunately, we don't have IT students here. One of my popular questions to my students is, if you are to become the director or minister of ICT, how are you going, what is going to be your priority? Where are you going to start with this mixture? Now you are talking of AI. So this digital divide, which Dr. mentioned briefly, seen in terms of the internet penetration, you know, it is at 24%, 6% only. Just 9 accessing the internet in the rural areas. Yeah? These are serious problems when we are talking of transforming through AI-driven innovations. There are serious issues to consider. We also have to remember that our educational system tends to lose talent. We lose quite a lot of brilliant chaps because of their lack of access to good education. We lose them. Maybe we need a policy, sir, as a representative of the International Council, on how we can access and bring on board those talents. Is there any other way other than failing them through our examinations? Yeah. Because they are there. Me, I remember leaving guys who were more brilliant than myself in primary school. And this is a very, very big issue. So we are also, of course, that's another story. Quality of education and access is a very, very big deal. Because you and me know the kids that make it through, maybe even to hear the Bishop Stuart, are those who have had guardians or parents who are able to pay fees. This is a big loss to the nation. Then there's that term where impact is. Yeah, community impact. And of course, those of you doing
research. I'm sure Dr. is good at research. Impact is normally measured longitudinally, but in this case, Professor Mugisha, you actually challenged us on this one. How we are going to measure this one, the impact? How are we going to determine that? Well, the students here will come up with something. Transformation. Thank you very much again for that. Lots of us look at transformation physically, and yet it is beyond that. It is including the intellect. Yeah? Your identity and consciousness. How are we conscious about AI and the realities around it? The challenge we have in our education is, and these terms we are talking about, we tend to domesticate them. We domesticate. By that I mean we almost memorize them. As a dean of computer science and technology, I normally ask my lecturers, how are you teaching technology without domesticating the whole process? You talked about those algorithms. And some of these lecturers force students to memorize them. Yeah? And how can you create an innovator who has simply memorized the process? This is a challenge. These are challenges in terms of how we teach. But fortunately, and you know here, we have so many educators. And I do believe when we are coming up with competence-based education, by the way, competence is knowledge plus is key. So please remember that. There are so many theorists who have helped them. And for you, read about this if you are going to transform your teaching or learning process. William Dole is one who believes we must learn through exploration so we are able to create. Dole is very extreme. He says there should be no predetermined outcomes. But I saw this. I'm sorry to brag about this. I saw this in England, actually. When my son was little, they just released them into an environment. And when you go back, the report is about what your child did best. Some of them go to the sun, others go. It's actually following Dole. This competence-based, some of you have heard about Thomas Kuhn, who refused to believe in incrementals, linear incrementals of learning. This is the guy who believes learning should be by revolutions of paradigms, just like they are changing to competence-based education. So, we need systems, Dole, Kuhn, Popper. I don't know how many of you have heard of Popper, Karl Popper, who believes that non-science can turn into science, so we do not have to lose you as students. You can turn into AI specialists, and there are courses that can help you do that. Please get on board. The courses are there online. So some of them are free of charge. It is also Papa who asked, why should you do an experiment for which results you know? Very interesting guy. You go and do Newton's law of motion and you know what the outcome is going to be. Why do you waste time? Okay. By the way, just some other side things. I'm sure you know an AI robot conducted a sermon. Sir, I don't know whether you listened. It conducted a sermon in the US. And the people listening couldn't tell whether it was a human being or a robot. And the followers felt cheated. They wanted to leave the church. So this is very, very serious. I mean, because these things can read the Bible in just minutes, so they can work out something. So what is AI? Yes, sir, you tried to define this. Also, as we define it, I want to bring out the fact that most of the AIs are pre-trained. The word GTP is coming from that, pre-trained. Okay, so I want you to notice this, that the AIs you use, because they are pre-trained, are short of your knowledge. I don't know whether you get these students. They are pre-trained on databases that belong elsewhere, especially to the developed countries. This is why when I give you an assignment, and I do those very much, aware that students use AI, I'll ask you about your community. Yes, you say, so how would you apply this in your community? The AI doesn't. It doesn't. You have to be very careful. It will tell you lies. And I will not see that very, very easily. So we have, as a result, scarcity of resources. That's one of the challenges in using AI to transform society. We need policies. I was one time invited to train parliamentary staff about AI. And the challenge was, how do you make policy on something that is changing all the time? It is changing. We don't even know whether next year it will be there. So the challenge is to this National Council for Higher Education is to have policies that allow us practitioners to change these terms as they come. Because you may say you are going to teach your class AI, and by next year it has changed into something else. There's no control. The beauty and the danger of, at the same time, simultaneously, the danger of technology is it is open. Even you can start something. There's no limit. And I want to encourage you students here. There's no limit. Pick up your computer and do those algorithms we was talking about. There's no limit. Nobody is limiting you to say, okay, stop here. No. You have to change, perhaps, the transformation. Much of what we need is to transform your mindset. Yes. Believe in yourselves. Know that you can also make an AI. I forgot my computer in his office. I made my photograph talk. Yes. It is through AI, you can think it is me. Yeah. And I also asked it to speak some other languages. And I was showing off that I'm a multilingualist. Yes, this is how far these things have gone. But why don't you do that yourselves? For those in acting and music, you can actually create a band manned by AI, and you sell the music. You can create movies A lot of the movies now are AI led. You can do this. That will transform your lives so much. I've just chaired a conference, international conference for technology management, and its focus was AI. And we had a session for students, and they were feeling very sorry for us, lecturers and digital immigrants. Say, sorry for you guys, because we are doing our assignments through AI and you don't know it. That's what they say, openly. And I remember some of the contributors were begging them to be part of the team to come up with an assessment policy that is going to be able to check whether they haven't used the AI. By the way, AI plagiarizes you guys. So don't think you are getting free. No, it plagiarizes. Yes, that's true. You may think you are getting original knowledge, but it's plagiarized. Out of that conference, we decided Uganda needed an association for AI practitioners. So please, when you see the link, join. You will be most welcome. You don't need to be a computer scientist, as I say. So, as much as we cannot reinvent the wheel, I think we need to get our hands dirty. You guys, you have no excuse to say you are not computer scientists. You can get into AI right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let us clap for him again. Thank you very much, Professor. And let's go and make our own AIs so that Mukundane, when you are preaching somewhere, use your AI. And people will say, wow, Mukundane, he can speak, he can preach. Yeah, thank you very much. We are now going to a question and answer session. And I request Councillor Alan to head this session of question and answer session. And meanwhile, your graduates be getting prepared for the award. Thank you. And my IT team has gone out. We are going to just to apply, to have, even if the question may not be answered today, but you can give them to us and give you a contact, and using AI, we shall be able to reply you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Milton, for introducing me. Special thanks go to our discussant, Professor John Zache, and our keynote speaker, Dr. Vincent. And of course, we want to thank the audience for paying attention up this time. It is your turn now to fire questions. And I want to do it this way. The ones that have the courage to ask the questions, you will put up your hand, we pick on you, you ask your questions. But not all of us have the courage to speak. So I will, you put up your hand, I give you a small sheet like this, you write your question and then you pass it on. Then I'll read it for you here. And then of course, our discussant and the keynote speaker will be very ready to answer you. So let's move. Where do I start from? Professor John.
Thank you very much, our speakers this evening. The AI question is a big one, and I was wondering, how do we get ourselves, how do we get Africa, how do we get our rural communities? You know, we are still struggling to be part of the money economy. We have heard the president saying, oh, you are not part of the money economy, which is true. the last seminar that I conducted, I organized one at Cavendish, was on formalization. And then we discovered that actually many of the people, including professionals like myself, are not in the formal economy. For instance, he said, how many of you have land titles? And we are all living on traditional acquired land. And so you can't use it to get a loan, you can't do what? So I was thinking, what if, and BSU is actually moving in that direction of implementation research, what if we do lots of community implementation research or applied research? We carry out surveys. If I use my example of public health, we do health impact assessment. We do community diagnosis. And then we come up with huge quantities of data, and then we publish. Because when we publish, it goes on to the internet in an attempt to try and get our own information out there, so that when you ask a question, it can give you information that is relevant to you. That's one thing. The second one, are we not able to design community studies that utilize or leverage, to use the word that Dr. Sembatia likes to use, and he uses that, and then low-hanging fruits. Today he didn't mention our low-hanging fruits. I've attended many presentations. So can we leverage AI to conduct community improvement experimental experiments, and then we document the merit stage processes, and then in that way we get our own data out there. Then how about our institutions? The church is an institution. That is one of the most organized institutions, actually, is the church in the whole world. The head teacher at one of the schools where I'm a director didn't know. They were saying, what was the mother's date of birth? Then I said, you ask her where she was baptized from. They are from Bugamba or somewhere there near Rukoni, but she was baptized from a Catholic parish in Kantare or Chitanga. When he went there, he went backwards and he discovered the date of birth. In fact, they were wrong on their mother's age by about 10 years. The church actually had baptism records. And we also know, it was misunderstood by the Lord Bishop, but we know that President Museveni traced back in Angola Diocese, the church where he was baptized. The date of baptism is there, but also they could ask Akazarwa Ryari, when was he born? Somehow you have also a fair kind of picture of when he was born, because on that date they also ask, when was he born? So the church is one of the most organized institutions. What if data on a number of things from about the church and about the people and the communities is published? Our bishop is, by the way, doing lots of publications, even on faith, longevity, faith, health, faith, family stability interactions. His research has mainly been in that area, and there is now some data out there. Couldn't we be able to get ourselves relevant in this world of AI? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. I'll take 3 more questions.
Yeah, the first one is directed to the Vice Chancellor. For the amount of the awareness that has been created, shouldn't AI be a compulsory core subject, like the Bible is, so that everybody is introduced to AI, because everybody will use it. So I want to know if a resolution will be made. Then, just to inform that in my former department, where I think I still belong, we taught the AI about, say, the effect of diabetes on the eye. and we spent the whole week feeding it. This one, this picture makes this picture is this. So after that, computer was expert on different stages. So a nurse in the village uses a camera to take the picture of the eye, inside the eye, and then sends it to a central system. So that when 10,000 people are examined by these nurses, only 20 should be called to see the specialist, instead of a specialist examining 10,000. So there's a need to internalize, to localize, use the AI. But first, the Vice Chancellor must teach AI.
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes.
Thank you so much. My name is Alfred Mwine. I'm a graduate. I want to first of all make a statement. The lower secondary curriculum, the competence-based curriculum, promotes collaboration and teamwork, critical thinking skills. But when you look at AI, it gives someone an opportunity to, get to take an example, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, and they get to, understand each and everything. I mean, they get to know each and everything. Now, that question of mentorship is dying because, I can go to AI and get to know whatever I want to know. And when you look at, the erosion of critical thinking skills, because AI does everything. So if you could kindly make a statement, because the ministry is promoting the new curriculum, the competence-based curriculum, whereas the AI is actually telling us that we can do everything using our phones. Two, what are those silent steps you can give to a fresh graduate who is leaving the university and they want to embrace the AI, given the fact that they have been using the Microsoft Copilot, they have been using the ChatGPT. So what are some of those courses someone can, take on to make sure that they are moving with what is happening? And yes, you showed us something to do with robotics and stuff like that. What if a robotic or a car which is driving itself makes a mistake? Who is accountable? Is it the manufacturer or the person who is using the robotic or the what? The car. Thank you so much, Dr. Sembati.
Thank you very much. Here, him, and then we'll close the first round with you.
Thank you very much. And my name is I'm also a graduate of administrative law. Shout out to my colleagues of administrative law. Congratulations. So my point of concern is about the high levels of unemployment in Uganda. And I'm also amazed if we embrace AI and we use like these robots, how shall we balance between embracing AI like robots versus unemployment? If a work is to be done by 2 people or 4, and you now use a robot, won't you be affecting the work of the opportunities of those 2 people, of all those 5 or 10 people? So I want maybe to ask our keynote speakers, if you are embracing AI and at the same time sabotaging opportunities of people who have also been professionals, how are you handling the two? Embracing AI and not sabotaging the employment opportunities of the professionals. I thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Last question for this round. Last. We'll come back to it. Meanwhile, the ones that are writing, I'm about to collect those questions. Please.
Thank you very much, our brave keynote speakers. My name is Aruna Inomujisha. I am a student here, journalism and mass communication. First of all, I can't go without appreciating the VC. He's doing a great job in as far as promoting transformative education is concerned. My question goes to Dr. Vincent and the National Council for Higher Education. Jack Ma of Alibaba said it is not the technology that changes the world. It is the mind behind the technology that changes the world. And this session comes at a very timely moment where we are going into the graduation. My question is, how do you work with institutions, top stakeholders like BSU, to measure success when institutions have sent back these graduates to the communities that are counting on them to transform those communities, but now we also count on those products, the graduates. How do we measure success? And how do you work with institutions like BSU to ensure that that success is achieved? Final about that, as young people, we have been victimized, and most of the times I've attended sessions like this one. I was in Austria to attend the International Press Institute conference about innovation, but most of the speakers from Africa were victimizing the young people. When they are speaking, it's like the young people are facing the biggest predicament, so they cannot find solutions. It's like it's a very big threat. How do we reinforce the young people so that we can hold the flag higher? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor and Doctor. I'll, yes, sure.
No, well, thank you very much for those very nice questions. Yes, Professor Mugisha, who normally has most of these answers, still has some questions. How would we organize ourselves? Yeah, it's well known that most of the algorithms that are being put out to make decisions for us are biased. Because of course they've been trained on data which is not contextualized to our situations. So if say an algorithm is taught how to identify a dog, and all the dogs that have been shown this algorithm are from Europe, it may see our dog and call it something else, call it a rat. Yeah, because it has never really seen such a dog. I don't know why they have not stumbled in that yet, but somehow, luckily enough, the algorithms have been probably trained more than that. And even though the ChatGPT is pre-trained, the GP, the P part, G is generative, P is pre-trained, and T is transformer. So that's why GPT comes in. But the pre-trained means it has been trained already. It's out there for use. But luckily enough, the later versions, like 5, you can train it. Actually, the one, when it sits on your computer, it's open for training. You can show it things and it will remember them locally, but don't expect another friend of yours to generate the same answer as yours, because it is looking at your computer locally. And they've also given you options to show it your Google Drive, show it whatever you like, load it with that information. It will probably do a better job for you. But for questions of we should deliver our data, I think there was a fear that the moment we disclose our information, they are going to colonize us again. So people preferred to live offline. Don't put your things online, they are going to steal them. Now there's another problem. So it's a give and take. Don't show your information online, you are not training. You are not participating in the training or the algorithms. So if even the church can help, because now we've started asking these algorithms to translate in local languages. You can try it. Ask it a local language expression. It may give you the right answer. But sometimes if it doesn't have the answer, it will concede and say, I asked it about Chinyarwanda, it says, sorry, I don't know Chinyarwanda. Then it will tell you, if you give me this and that, I'll be able to help. But it's not Swahili, incidentally, because the Swahili is more walked around. There's someone is it Tumwebaze? Yeah, Sunbird. He's working on this training in two local contexts. So you can join those people leaving this university as graduates. You may work with that Ernest Tumwebaze. He, I think, would give you, even you don't have to walk to Kampala. You can work from here to train, to join the community of trainers for these algorithms. Show it what a potato looks like, tomato, even in Komamawanga, whatever they are, show them. Say this one is called this. You will see, it will move around with that knowledge.
I remember Vice Chancellor Professor Mugisha warning people about their mobile phones studying them. Yeah, I mean, that is part of training. Yeah, now I can identify faces. So, and link them, tag them to your name. And that's pretty. On the other side, it's a bit dangerous. Make sure when you are on social media, you go as Vice Chancellor advised, visit responsible social media. And you forget. I mean, I see TikTok is very dangerous. Because as you watch, it brings in a vulgar video. And if you have many of those, you are starting to be classified along those lines. And that is why it brings more and more of those to your phone. And for you think it is helping you, but so that's another kind of training that you should be careful about. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks Professor Zake for mentioning that. Previously, I think you thought you were watching your TV, but remember the TV is also watching you. Because now these smart TVs will go off if you start dozing, it will go off. You watch it as it watches you. Your phone is watching you and is delivering information to somewhere through cookies. And so, but I think creating a community of practice, people who can support the church into getting information out there, the church can moderate it, so to give you the correct versions. But I think people have translated, the Bibles did us very good. I think that was early. Bibles were translated into languages, different languages. Dictionaries have been translated, you call them the taxonomies, so the classification of things. So thank you, Professor Zake. There's Alfred Tumine talked about lower secondary curriculum, giving some skills. My kids in the house teach me a lot of AI, actually. So I learn from them. I think they pick it from school. But so you see, at lower levels, they know more than you think. Probably what we need is some bit of moderation. But then you're asking, you have this issue of critical thinking skills, the illusion. Yeah, the illusion, you think someone is critically thinking, yet is being supported by AI. It's just this issue of the world moving on. So even when they introduced calculators, people rejected them. Say, don't use a calculator, you are cheating. But now show me anyone who is not using a calculator. So at some point the world the barrier moves. It has moved, everyone is using AI, because this also links to the question of whether it will take away the jobs. They told us AI will not take away the jobs, but people using AI will take away your jobs. So what do you prefer? So AI doesn't have interest in your jobs, but the people using AI will take over. So Professor Zake.
Ladies and gentlemen, in those countries where these technologies are evolving, people move on to other kinds of jobs. Yeah? They learn, for example, if your job was to fit parts on a vehicle and a robot starts to do that, you are supposed to move on to another set of skills. Now, this set of skills will probably be aligned to what is required for that robot to work. Yeah? So you would probably move on to understand how does this robot work. You learn to service it. So you become part, as he's putting it, you become part of the new workforce. So it's not like those jobs go, they may go here because we are laid back, but out there, those people move on to probably the skills that are required to produce the robots. I don't know whether you get me. Yeah.
Thank you. Someone, again, I think it was Alfred, again, about the graduates who say going to the world today. What are we telling them? How are they going to survive out there? And how are we going to measure some of this impact? I think someone else asked about that. Somehow we have even given you some startups. So even if you work in a market environment, think of how you can use AI to improve your perception. I've already given you an example of pricing. People are guessing, even on the roadsides, they are dangling fish, and they will tell you this one is 45,000. You can spend a lot of time haggling to try and reduce that price. Why don't you find a way AI can help you to give you the right price of that fish? Because it's a matter of training. There are algorithms that you can train. Show them different fish and the prices and the best sellers and send it to now learn. When you give it a new fish, it will tell you that one pay 10,000, not more. And then you pay. You can carry that up on your phone. But now you can also help the marketplace, the whole market. Whatever they are selling, say, before I sell, get to know how you price your things. That one is just a tip. But there are so many other things you can do out there in communities with this. But most importantly, because I learned of this in MIT, people took back some of their certificates and say, especially they were computer scientists, so you told us these jobs were there, now they are taken over by machines, here is your certificate. So before you do that, before you take back your certificate, try to be lifelong learners. So someone who can learn, as Professor Zachary told you, learn something else. If the one you took on did not provide you, because if you are like a pianist, you took some time learning that skill. Now you can show the staff notation to a computer and they praise the music so well. So now you wonder who will hire you as a pianist. Of course, right?
Yeah, the AI are very good at art now. Yes, can reproduce you in a moment. But I thought the student is going to sympathize with us lecturers, because AI is now teaching you a lot of things which we don't. And I remember in Australia, the students were arguing that their fees should be changed. because they are learning from technology, and they have also established that lecturers are getting their knowledge also from AI. So what are they paying for? And it was a very big discussion. And I don't know how it is going to unfold here in Uganda.
Actually, Professor, as you're still on the floor, please answer this. I believe it's a gentleman from the handwriting. He's saying that AI is here to stay, but you called it plagiarism.
Yes.
And it is fought by conservative professors and lecturers, where me and you belong. So his question is, how do we promote the use of AI amidst contradicting views of the youth and the elderly teams?
We digital immigrants, we are of course in danger. But what you are, yes, it plagiarizes, that's a fact. When you type in, you Google anything, it will give you answers. But it is picking those answers from somewhere. And the danger is you quoting those without reference. Okay, and if I take your text into a plagiarism tool, like a Turnitin, it will show me where those came from. And it will be you responsible for that plagiarism, not the AI. And another thing, AI, I agree personally. In fact, I guide my students on how to use AI. It is there, but you have to find ways by which it is helping you, other than using it as an end in itself. The challenge that you have, you students, is you feed the AI with my assignment, and it will produce it in about 5 minutes, or even 3 or 2.
About 2 minutes.
Yes. But I, even as I teach, I tease you to explain to me what you have produced means. I force you to think. Because you give me an essay, I will call you and I say, okay. So a lot of us are going back to Vivas for big essays. I will call you in. You have scored 80%, thank you very much. Can you come in and we talk about it? And obviously, you won't have the answers, my friend, I'm telling you. So try to practice thinking around what AI is giving you.
Thank you very much, Professor.
Yeah, thank you. I think still Alfred had another question on ethical issues of, say, self-driving cars. Yeah, I think there was that story of a self-driving car which decided to kill. But it's just a myth. It killed its manufacturer, is that true? So it killed the passenger. So because now it's faced with an ethical issue, so if it sees a group of kids crossing the road, okay, and now it is supposed, if it has to make a decision whether to run into the kids or to knock a tree, diverge from the road, save the kids, end up knocking a tree and killing the owner. So ethically, you see, it will decide to kill the owner. But again, in our world where we live, the owner makes the decision, saves themselves, may decide to run into the kids. So how do we get ethical? Ethics is being coded into algorithms. And that's why I mentioned the psychology, philosophy is becoming very important. Because now with algorithms need to be regulated because of moral issues. There is an algorithm that led someone, a kid, to suicide. I'm sure you heard about that. And the parents sued the owners of the algorithm for having developed an algorithm that led to the death of the family member. So, and yet the people who developed the algorithm never thought about such a situation. The kid kept on asking, probing the algorithm, till you told him, now it's time to go and finish your life. So, she has
something. I thought you will interrogate the possibilities of engineers corrupting those systems. That's a very, very serious matter. You can imagine if driving, and you manage to get a virus into that system, what is going to happen? So it goes to the level of who controls what. Now, if the manufacturers are in the US and elsewhere, then one day they might decide to stop our vehicles altogether by a use of a virus or a worm. Just press the button. So we have to be very, very careful about some of the automations, the IoT. I remember, I think you read about that case. Somebody had wired everything in the house, but it was based on his voice, and then he got flu. And nothing could work. He couldn't even enter his own car. So these kinds of things, I mean, it looks very nice on the surface, but let us think of those other extremes, ethical issues. Just as we have murderers physically able to shoot you, kill you, we have murderers in those systems who can do nasty things. And the protection you are talking about of algorithms being secured is very, very, very important. And in fact, it calls for very serious policy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Professor.
Yes, yes, they ask very good questions. I think they've been thinking about these things. The question of unemployment, that one has been handled. Yes, they can't guarantee. Who said that the world cannot guarantee you a living? Yeah, it's a jungle out there, so it's going to stay competition all the time. So which means you have to jump onto the next skill. You cannot, even what you've learned, you are the best at it. I've asked people to show me their phones before, and whoever had a phone with a screw, we had put up money to give them money if your phone has a screw. Yeah? So now if you are trained to open phones using a screwdriver, definitely your job is long gone. And even opening a phone may not be necessary at all, because you won't even see anything serviceable. So what will happen if you were a technician who are trained, even banging an engine car, because that's what happened. You go to a garage, they bang, they fix the car. Now you even open, you don't see an engine. It's an empty box because it's an electric car. So the boundaries are moving, and the thing is like they're moving much faster than previously. So there's that story of Chinua Achebe, of a man learning to shoot without missing. And so that forced Eneka the bird to fly without perching. Yeah, because that's what it is. Prof, I think there's this question of Jack Ma. Yeah, Jack Ma claims not to have gone to school. You know that. He didn't go to school. He says he failed every interview ever given to him. But he became a billionaire. And actually at one time, I think he sent masks to Uganda during COVID. Jack Ma. And he's the one who said, don't blame the what? The technology. You want to blame the person behind the technology? Well, that is, if you say that, I don't have much to say about that. But Prof here might, I think you will say something about that, and how should we measure success? Graduates going out there, how will they make impact in the communities? Thank you very much.
Measurement is a very, very difficult thing because you need a benchmark. But I'm sure Professor here knows. We have what we call graduate attributes. Graduate attributes, they are normally embedded in the values and missions of the university. These should be measured against community needs. They should be measured against this. So if a student, because they are generic, they cut across programs. So every student should graduate with those. And the tricky part is how to make sure these trickle down into the way we teach in each course, in each program. That's where the tricky part is. I think the universities have these graduate attributes and the qualities of a graduate. So, for example, if I walk down in Mbarara city, I meet somebody, I should be able to link that person with Bishop Stuart University.
Sure.
I should. And so that's what you go out with, regardless of whether you studied economics, science, what. There are those. And unfortunately, a number of them are not direct. You absorb them indirectly, a lot of them. So you start to behave like a Bishop Stuart graduate. And you go out there and you say, no, graduates of Bishop Stuart don't behave like this. You can't find them eating in the street. You can't find them abusing people. These soft skills are very, very important in your potential to be employed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Mwanga and Dr. Vincent. A big round of applause to Professor and Doctor. And of course, a big round of applause to the people who have asked questions. Professor and Doctor, I'm going to request you that after we close this, please feel free to meet students so that we put this discussion further for a few minutes, because I know there were people who are still burning to ask, but because of time, we'll can only stop here. Yes, so Doctor, allow me to close my session and then we proceed to the next bit.
A round of praise for Councillor Alan for taking us through this item. Thank you very much. May I invite now Reverend Mkundane to continue your business, and I'm giving you 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. Let's give them another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And with a karuru for this. Hey, you people, you don't know how to make a karuru for such a big presentation. We clap and make some good noise. Aha, thank you very much. Now, we are going now to relocate our visitors. And Dr. Milton will request that we relocate and come here, and then we go into another smaller session of graduating students. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a smaller function that we are going to go through. It is just going to take us a few minutes. After that, we shall have closing remarks by the chairman of the council, our own Professor Kenneth Kagame, and then Associate Professor Fred Sheldon Mwesigwa will give us a closing prayer, and he will pray for the refreshments that we have. So all of us shall serve refreshments. So I want to invite, take this honor, ladies and gentlemen. As we earlier said, Bishop Tutt University trains a certificate in administrative officers law course. This certificate is a requirement by the public servants and all of us, those that work in different offices. It's a requirement for you to get some employment or some even promotion. So I want to implore everyone here to take on this certificate. So we have two intakes. We have June intake and December intake. Right now we are receiving applications for December intake for a certificate in administrative officers law course. So if you are here, you know a colleague, a friend, a brother who wants to have this certificate, tell him, her, that we are waiting for him or her to apply, because in December, if immediately after the closure of the semester, then we shall receive them and train them, because we usually train them during holiday. Please. Otherwise, thank you very much. I want to invite Councillor Alan to come and take us on this session. Thank you very much. Yeah, as we proceed, because this is an academic function, I would like to take the honor to invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor John Muchasa, that you take a seat here, and also invite the chairperson of the council to take seat here, and also the Chancellor to take their seats here as we embark on this important function. Professor Kagame, you're welcome. And our Lord the Bishop, and at the same time the Chancellor of BSU, I request that you take your seat here.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mkundane. Without further ado, I'm going to read the graduates of the administrative course in law. So I'll read your name, you pick your certificate from me, and then you'll have the honors to shake the hands of our chairman of the council, our chancellor, and lastly our vice chancellor. Okay. All right. Kengabira no Donamu, please hurry up. Followed by Bambaza Johnson. Bambaza Johnson. Bambaza Johnson. Orichiriza James. Ashaba Sarah. Sanyu McLean. Sanyu McLean. Mwesigwa Augustine. Sanyu, so you'll be just after, yes. Nuataho Merab. Followed by Atukwase Sylvia. Sylvia? Oh, there. Namanya Benson. Stand there. Tusime Rovens. Rovens. Followed by Irembo Praise. Mande Pitson. Mheirwe Dennis. Kambaho Wilberforce. Magara James. Twinamasco David. Ntebekene Edred. Nahamia Cleophas. Namanya Sarah. Tutaise Ronald. Masco Samson. Masco Samson. Bagumira Amos. Ainomucha Charlotte. Arinda Brenda. And then lastly, Ainobsinje Doreen. My Lord Bishop, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, and the Chairman, Bishop Stuart University Council, allow me to present to you the following students who are standing before you. They have successfully completed their course in Administrative Officers Law. And as you can see, the dress code is that one. That is the starting point. So mine is to encourage them to even come and actually do either a diploma or even LLB with Bishop Stuart University, because they know by now that we have the capacity. So please, Kenga Brano Donamo. Followed by Bambaza Johnson. Orichiza James. Ashaba Sarah. Mwesigwa Augustine. Merab Nwataho. Atukwase Sylvia. Namanya Benson. Tusime Rovens. Irembo Praise. Monday Peterson. Muheirwe Dennis. Kambaho Wilberforce. Ntebekene El Edred. Twinamasco David. Magara James. Arinda Brenda. Bagumira Amos. Masco Samson, Tutise Ronald, Namanya Sarah, Nahamia Cleophas, Sanyu McLean, Arinda Brenda, Ainob Sinja Doreen, and lastly, our Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, and Chairman School Council. This is one of our staff, and she's called Ainomucha Charlotte. So please, staff members. Yes, BSU represented everywhere. Thank you very much, gentlemen, and allow me to close this session, and I hand over the mic.
Thank you very much, Councillor Alan. Let's give him a big clap, a big hand clap. Let me, without taking more time, let me invite the chairperson of the council, Professor Kagame, to give closing remarks, and he will also invite the Chancellor to bless us.
Thank you. I don't know if you still call it CPD, but this was a good CPD. We have all learned a lot, and we thank the guest speakers, including the brother of my minister in 1962-67, Rimba Zake. We had to know his name to pass exams. Yeah. I think what we have learned today is that we have to keep reading, we have to keep learning. In the year 1900 AD, in that season, that period, knowledge would double in 100 years. So if you take the knowledge we have as a quantity, it will take 100 years to double it. But in 1945, it will take 25 years only. In 2025 now, some aspects of knowledge double within hours. Others take a day or two. So for you to remain in one place, you have to run very fast. So you can't be a lecturer and say, I learned everything, I got a PhD, so I arrived. You can't, because what you learned when you're doing your PhD is obsolete within another week. So we have to have a culture of going for more and more studies, never feeling satisfied. 2, this last weekend, I met my nephew, who has just come from United States. And he came with a job to coordinate some teaching education program for the disadvantaged. And he coordinates it online from his house. But he says, after graduating 2 years ago with, I think, Master's in Development Studies, he realized very fast that without AI, he will not perform in his office. So he has had to do several courses online of AI. And when we met, he had just finished coordinating a meeting at UN of his group. And AI had helped him in record time to prepare the materials. And he said that if you are doing research, it is a must, because it helps you very fast through your material. You instruct it, you teach it, and you get out what you want. You get your results very fast. So he says it's a research tool. He asked me if he can, when the VC is conducting his CPDs, whatever you call them, if he can just come and sit in and interact, giving his experience. So that you see what a young man of 30 has acquired, has realized he has to acquire. He has acquired it and is helping him. Again, only yesterday, a teacher in Rwanda, a teacher of secondary school, sent me a message if he can market his product in Uganda, where AI product, where you just command to give an exam. Then you send it to the email of the students. It is marked by the AI, and results are posted all within a short time. I said, I'm practically expired, so I may not want to learn that. But it shows you how even that secondary school teacher is selling his AI product. Huh? So I think I'll go to there's a subject which I always tackle. And in the council, they call it chairman subject. How I cannot imagine an undergraduate without a computer. Now it's not only a computer, but even using it for AI. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I will choose you to the Chancellor if you keep refusing to make it compulsory that an undergraduate should have a computer. Huh? And I haven't said it yet. When we have our kids in primary 6, when they send them home for a mathematical set, we don't debate. And for an undergraduate, the equivalent is a computer. And I'm very convinced that management is convinced that computer tool is a compulsory tool. And also, if I can convince management that the staff take AI as a subject of interest that can help them in their studies. Once again, join me to thank our guest speaker and the discussant for a subject or handle. I wish you a good graduation ceremony tomorrow. I congratulate those who have passed and gotten their award tonight, and those will be conferred with degrees tomorrow. Congratulations in advance. Thank you very much. I have this singular honor to invite the Chancellor to address his people. Thank you, Chancellor, sir.
It's okay. Can you stand and we pray? We shall have a prayer. We shall also pray for the drink and eats that have been prepared. Dear loving Lord, we thank you so much for this time together in this hall to deliberate on a key subject of current importance and future importance, science and technology, AI, and the impact in our community. We realize that we can't do without it. May you continue to bless us and guide us. As a university, thank you that University Council and administration, staff, students are all committed to ensure that we promote science and technology and AI use in this university. We give it importance. May you continue to bless us so that we shall be able to take it to heart, but also to provide where we need equipment, because it is very highly charged. We need a lot of resources, but where there is a will, there is a way, including even the laptops and iPads and equipment that even the basic student may need to have. We shall get there. Bless us and guide us. But also important that as one of the cardinal importances of a university is, we shall have impact on the community. It is not enough to be an ivory tower university which has no relationship with the community, which does not address the challenges that we have in the community. May you help us so that even as we articulate our theories, our principles, our practices, they will all be aimed at impacting community. So bless us and guide us. Thank you for the presenters, keynote speaker, discussants, the audience, for the generation of knowledge. May you bless us as we go out to put it to practice and to think more and reflect more. Look for more solutions to the challenges posed in this room. But also, Lord, we pray that you safeguard us against the fears that we have of AI. The direction that some of it is taking, which is calling for regulation. Because we realize that it might, for some cases, it may propel itself in whatever direction, and we may not be safe. Bless us. You've always guided us, even with the fears of atomic bombs, nuclear codes and all that, which are in the hands of a few. We have managed to live. We pray that even with this AI, we shall live and survive. Bless us and guide us and our fellowship together as we eat and drink. Be with us. Even for the preparations for tomorrow, we pray that we shall have a good ceremony, a good event, well organized. And thank you for the positive response from the guest of honor, that we shall have the president represented by the vice president. That is no mean achievement. May you continue to bless us so that every other activity will go well, the program will flow well, and finally, glory and honor will be given to your name. We pray for discipline on the part of the students, because many times we have been embarrassed when they walk away. We pray that a university like this, with values, Christian values, somehow we shall be able to get there, to ensure that we can respect the time, we respect guests, honored guests, and we finish well and properly. Bless us and guide us. Through Christ our Lord we pray. The peace of God which passes all understanding, keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and of his Son Jesus Christ. Blessing of God Almighty, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you now and always.